Okay, I think we're live. All right, everybody's starting to pop in. How's it going, everybody? Just doing another impromptu live stream here, trying to test out some of the audio and even try to sharpen up some of the video stuff as well to see if the balls will be a little bit more clearer during the video. But we'll see. I'm still figuring all this stuff out. Had a good session with Joe from Joe's Pool School. Check out his YouTube channel, and he gave me a lot of suggestions on how to try to improve the audio quality of my live stream using this piece for now until I either upgrade my computer system or do whatever I need to do to try to get the audio to sound much like how my actual recorded YouTube videos are, because those use completely different equipment than when I do live streams. So if you could, I'm really trying to use just my normal voice and not try to talk a little elevated. Let me know, how do I sound? Because there are some software settings that I have in the background that's supposed to be trying to control the sound a little bit better and try to make it a little bit more clearer. Everything sounds good? Well, cool. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and try to run some racks. As I know I was fumbling a bit on my last stream, or I was making a lot of mistakes on my last stream. Try to do these with a little bit more attentiveness and care to the actual racks. So let's see what we can do here. And even now, when you hear the pool balls and stuff, let me know how all those sound. All right, cool. Big old mess over by the 4, 5, and 7 ball. Let's see what I can do to try to fix all of that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just use the 3 ball to get behind here for the 4 ball. So right now, all I'm trying to do is just use the 1 ball to get position on the 2 balls. So I'm going to go to the side rail with a little bit of top spin and some right spin. That way I can set up for the 2 ball in the side pocket. Now I actually have an angle on the 2 ball to where if I wanted to, I can try to break this stuff up. But if I come over here and look, I do have a pretty clear path for the 4 ball to go down into the corner pocket. So I don't think I'm going to disturb that. So what I want to make sure though is when I play the 3 ball, if the 8 ball was not here, like if I tried, I'm not going to try to come in this window, but if I was in this window, I can use the side rail to come over here. So instead, I'm going to draw back to hopefully somewhere right around here to where I can use the short rail and then get behind the 4 ball. That's at least going to be the intention. So this will be with bottom spin. So now I'm going to try to stun over a bit with a center ball hit and a little bit of right spin. Try to get position on the 4. Oh, but I hit that so soft. So that's not going to cut it. Probably shouldn't have stretched either. I probably should have at least used a bridge. This is probably not going to be a good rack. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't even know if that was a good hit or not. Let's try that again. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I did break a little bit more powerful than I usually do because I am trying to actually find this sweet spot where I can try to break and run the table without taking ball in hand. So if I take a little bit off the break, then the spread's going to be nicer. You can see the spread's nicer. On this one, I don't have to take ball in hand. I can try to run this out. I didn't satisfy the 3-point rule, but that's not relevant because only the 6 ball crossed the head string and then I pocketed a ball. But I do try to satisfy the 3-point rule when I break. Now, this would be easier if I took ball in hand to try to get position on the 2, but I'm going to try without it. So I can see that my cue ball naturally wants to go this way. So I'm going to use that. Try to go 1, 2, maybe even 3 rails and come back out for position on the 2. So this is probably going to be with some top left spin. Well, I didn't get the 3rd rail, but we still got position on the 2 ball. So here I will allow the 2 ball to go to the side rail, and then with right spin, I'll bring it back to the 3 in the side. Ooh, never mind. Jeez. Warm-up games, warm-up games. All right. 3rd time's the charm, right? Let's get one on this one. Okay, 2 balls on the break. And it does look like the 5 ball is tied up. So, yeah. I probably need to try to break it out now, and that's going to risk my position on the 2 ball. Because the 4 balls up there, the alternative would be to try to get position over here for the 5 in that corner, but coming from the 4 ball, that's probably going to be difficult. Or I can leave the 5 ball alone and try to break it out when I use the 5. So I think that's what I'm going to try. No ball in hand. We'll play position to the 2 ball. And we're going to try to break out the 5 ball from the 4 ball. Okay, so I've got the angle that I want, so I have to be careful with how much spin I'm going to use, because when I use this rail, I can easily side spin this and just completely miss. Basically, I probably would like to maybe hit the 5 ball from behind. I don't know if I directly want to go into it, because if I hit it directly, I can probably just push it to the other side of the 8 ball while my cue ball stays on this side of the 8 ball. So let me look. I think if I hit the side rail somewhere right around here, because this is the angle that it would go in, so the angle that it would come out should take me to it. or like that. I'd missed it altogether. I put a touch of side spin on there, and it was already too much. All right, but I at least can see the fly ball. This is a difficult back cut shot that I'm going to try. I almost got double lucky. I don't know if I think if the six ball wasn't there, I think it would have gone. So the ball in hand shot, if I would have taken ball in hand on the one ball, I would have immediately broken apart the five ball. I don't even think I made the wing ball. I think something else dropped on that one. All right, so let's take ball in hand on this one. Here we're going to come near the middle of the table. Not ideal. I wanted to be right around here. I just didn't hit it hard enough. A little help from the five ball, getting better position on the four ball. And I didn't hit that one hard enough. Oh, definitely feel a little off today. But it's going to be better to be off today than on Tuesday. I'll take this opportunity to try to figure out what in the world I'm doing wrong. But we at least finished the round. So that's the most important part. That's at least worth 9 points. Still would like to figure out what I need to do for 11 points, making sure that I'm getting position on the one ball. All right. See who's here. So Andrew Smith, what's going on? Travis H, Beard King, how's it going? Nicholas Desidue, I hope I said that right. Henry Saldivar, Usher 1981, Miles Thornton, Jared Newman, welcome back. G-Man, how's it going? Is that now or nay? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Cooper JS, Rackham Jake, how's it going? Oh, good. So the audio is at least sounds a whole lot better. No crack of the rack, so that sounds good. Okay, cool. So it sounds like everything's a little bit better than last time. So awesome. That's basically what I'm going for. Can't hear the break. Okay, that's going to be most likely because of the software setting that I have on there. And I don't know what would be better. Do you want to hear like this, loud ear scratching explosion, or just nothing at all? To try to configure the software where there's this happy medium of you just hear a slight bang. That's basically what I'm working on. Saying the video looks fuzzy. Hmm. Is it just the video of the pool table, or is even my face cam a little fuzzy? You did hear the impact of the brake this time. Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure that you just don't get this all of a sudden bang sound, at least during my live streams. Because when I jump in on other people's live streams, it's going to sound completely different because it's just going to be my microphone going into whatever web meeting that I'm going to, which is still going to be this earpiece. Okay, well let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let's go through this, and I think the only thing maybe I can probably try to change is we'll do this. I am messing with the software filters. So I'm going to change it to that. And I don't know. It may be noticeable. It may not be noticeable. Because when it comes to just changing software setting, it's going to be a whole lot of trial and error. Okay. It would have been nice if the one ball stayed on the table, but in a situation like this, I would take ball in hand. But fairly decent layout pattern here. No real hard cue ball movements that I see that I'm going to have to do. Just draw back off this 2 ball for position on 3. I'm going to allow the cue ball to roll a little bit because I want to be on the other side of the 4 ball. Because at least from here, I can just do the same thing. I can just gently roll the cue ball. So the question is going to be is how does my tip to cue ball contact sound? How does the ball to ball contact sound? And how did the break sound? And I guess just depending upon whether I'm hitting a shot, soft, medium, or hard, how each of them sound. I don't expect all of them to be perfect. Because I think the last thing that I'm probably going to end up investing because I stream from my MacBook Pro is to get some AirPods. I was already trying to get them earlier, but they're all sold out until next year. And I would think that an Apple product trying to talk to another Apple product, the communications would just sound a whole lot cleaner. All right, so let's see here. Quality of the video looked better the other day. Okay, so that means what I did to this just does not work. Well, it's not even there. Well, that's weird. I had something on this. At least I thought I did. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to make that look. And I just noticed that. Let me see here. This is how picky I am about aligning stuff up. I don't know if you can notice trying to tilt the camera a little bit to be a little bit more straighter. And I think that's about as good as it's going to get. What's a good break cue on a budget? I mean, I think any of the players' cues or action cues, and they do make specific break cues that I think would be on a good budget. Oh yeah, what are my stream settings? Because if you're not viewing what I'm outputting, that could make a difference. Yeah, so everything should be 1920 by 1080, or actually that might not be right. But let's have a look here. Really? Okay, so the interesting part is going to be is if I just, what about if I just drop this? I forgot that I had that off last time. So we're gonna play through a rack with a filter turned off. You're probably gonna hear a cracking sound now when I do the break. So because I just turned off the noise suppression filter. All right, let's see what this sounds like. I currently have three different filters turned off, or turned. I had three different filters turned on for audio, and I just turned off the noise suppression. The other two are still on. So with the noise suppression turned off, this should sound a whole lot different, I would think. Jeez, 5-ball and 6-ball. Right, it's kind of the same setup. If I get behind the 5-ball from the 4-ball, then I might be able to continue my run. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. Well, not with a shot like that, that's for sure. Let's see. I wouldn't have been able to even land on the short side of the 5-ball. Let's try one more time. Not even getting my wing ball to go anymore. But besides how the gameplay sounds, like how do I still sound just talking with a regular voice? There's my wing ball. No decent shot, so we'll take ball in hand and try to follow up for position on the 2. Bumping into the 8 ball would be nice because then I don't have to worry about it interfering. Get where the 3 ball's at. I could play a stop shot on the 2 ball for position on the 3. So just a little bit of draw, a little bit below center. Pretty much do the same thing here. Just play a stop shot. I should have thought that through. I should have drew it back a little bit. That way I don't have to shoot this left-handed. And I hit that way too hard. How many of y'all can shoot with both your hands? Ooh, almost. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, voice is good. Ball contact sounds good. Audio is similar with less digital artifacts in the signal. Like I said, I turned off the noise suppression. Yeah, TBZ, I thought about putting some sound dampening boards in here eventually to significantly try to reduce the echo, but that's all in due time. And I'm just, because my entire garage has been like, you know, a complete work in progress in regards to making sure the temperature is controlled appropriately, the echo is reduced as much as possible. But, you know, I can't just go out and buy all this stuff all at once. I've been just, you know, slowly but surely working with it. Uh, Devin Burke, just be sure that your recommendation for a heavier cue, to have a more powerful break doesn't require a heavier cue. I know there's the misconception of, you know, because it's heavier, you can actually just hit a little bit harder. But when you think about it, the power is really just going to come from how fast you swing, right? Not necessarily the weight that's behind it. I mean, you know, for like, unless the boulder that you push, unless it gains enough momentum behind it, the initial push of the boulder is not going to have any power behind it. It's gonna be once it reaches its full potential, and that's pretty much what your stroke is supposed to be able to do with you. So in theory, if you had a lighter cue, you can swing it much faster because you don't have to worry about the weight of the cue bearing down on your grip hand. So a lighter cue actually does allow you to have a more powerful break. Hey, Bang Time, how's it going? The chalking of the cue chalking a bit squeaky is because the chalk is brand new. I have to break it in. Okay, so maybe with the noise suppression being turned off, that's probably the way to go, because I still have two other filters that are trying to help control the sound. or at least make the sound better. Because unless I'm going to go out and buy some like an audio mixer and like just like some freaking high dollar equipment, the audio is only going to be as good as I can make it. Especially since I'm streaming from a laptop. I was actually streaming from a PC with better hardware. Then I'd be in pretty good shape. Plus, that laptop I'm using is, I mean, geez, it's almost 8 years old. Okay, here's a rack where I might not have to take ball in hand. So let's see. Let's try to stun over for the 2 ball because I don't want to go underneath the 4 and the side rail. Oh, 5 ball, really? That pretty much ruined everything. Yeah, because that's all I could risk. I couldn't even risk trying to get position. Gee whiz. Okay, so that gives me that kind of hit, so. Yeah, that was ugly. At least I hit the ball. So it's like I said, if you can get a good break, which I basically do have, it all comes down to cue ball execution after that. As long as the break is consistent, which I'm able to do, I just have to make sure that I can maneuver my cue ball around appropriately on every shot. Jeez, almost made the 9 ball. Okay. Normally I would take ball in hand on this one too, but we'll try without it. Overcut the ball. Got the position on the 2 ball though. Hey, bang time. I did watch the replay of Saturday's matches. It looks like John Grego was the MVP of the night, scoring the most points out of everybody. All right. I do want to get through our rack this time, so I am going to start with ball in hand. Or at least have a better chance of getting through a rack. Oh, that's what I get for leaving the magic rack on. gosh, what is wrong with me? I'm like babying everything today. Good recovery. Oh, felt like I would have missed that one. I definitely need to start getting into a habit of taking the magic rack off after the break, if I'm able to. Oh, you want me to do a rack with my offhand? Sure, I could do that on the next go around. I actually had a story time. I actually had a league match one night where my right arm was actually injured. I couldn't, so my arm pretty much was like this, and I couldn't bend it any straighter, and I couldn't curl it any more than this either. So I had it wrapped in an ace bandage and stuff, and I had to inform my opponent that I'm going to have to play him left-handed because I wanted to make sure that like he didn't think I was going to be insulting him or anything because he knows that I'm a right-handed player. He jokingly said to me that if I managed to win my match, that he was going to quit playing pool. Well, I ended up winning. I think it was 5-1, and I even had a break and run in there with, and this was 8-ball in a race to 5. So, and I learned a lot about my game actually since I was playing with my left hand and being more focused and making sure like my whole body was just like moving much slower to make sure everything was like where it was supposed to be, like how I was supposed to be striking the cue ball, how hard I was going to be striking the cue ball. It was a lot more, I was a lot more attentive when I was playing with my offhand in that particular league match. So I learned a lot about my game that night. Why don't you ever see anybody using a wooden rack anymore? Is because the magic racks, you know, give you or the template racks give you the perfect rack, and that's what everybody wants nowadays. Because you know any non-template rack, you know, you're running the risk of having some sort of gap, and I can show you what I'm talking about right now. So let's take this off, and the only thing I want to show here is if I'll be able to make the wing ball. So I'm going to try my best to give myself a good rack. I'm not going to spin here all night trying to, you know, rack until it's absolutely perfect, but I'm going to give it the same attentiveness that I would during a match. And I can tell you right now, even now, the balls just don't really want to settle. Okay, so if I were to look, okay, the 1 and the 8 are touching good. Looks like the 1 and the 7 are good. All that looks good. There's a small gap between the 6 and the 8. 6 and 4 look good. 4 and the 2 look good. So I don't know, I might still be able to make the wing ball. But the other thing is like no one's going to want to wait on you to like rack and try to get the most perfect rack that you can possibly give yourself. or for let alone for your opponent, because you know your opponent's not going to, spend all night trying to give yourself a good rack. Oh, is my camera not on? Ah, good call. Thanks for that. Okay, nothing changes though. Like I said, there was one little gap between the 6 and the 8. Everything else looks fine. All right, let's see here. And then I have a solution so I don't do that again. Let's see if I can make that wing ball. And I missed. I mean, I was at least able to make the one ball in the side pocket. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to turn on my TV here and put the stream on. So sorry if you heard that static sound. So might actually be able to see the chat from here too. That way I don't have to keep just coming back to my computer. Okay, well, while that's, I have to update some software on my TV. So let's at least go to here. So sorry for not turning off the face cam. That's like the third time I've done that now. I'm 3 for 3. So I guess while my TV is updating, let me go ahead and try one more rack. Yeah, Robin, give me if I had some sort of buzzard or if the live chat was actually able to like alert me that something's wrong, like that would be helpful. But now I know the face cam is turned off. So let's try with the offhand and let's see what I can do. Matter of fact, there's a variation you could do to your rules, Bang Time. Confirm what hand the player shoots with, and then they have to play the tournament with their offhand. I think that would be fun to watch, especially if a player is just not familiar at all with shooting with their offhand. All right, let's see what this is like. So one thing's for certain is that you should notice that my form really isn't all that different when I'm shooting with my offhand. Okay, that's garbage. Break is not as clean, though. I'm not able to deliver the cue ball as fluently with my offhand. So let's see if I can do this. Oh, I'm going to scratch. Maybe I'll get lucky. Ha! There we go. All right, hopefully I don't hit the table behind me. Now, interestingly enough, nothing changes about the aim because I'm still using my same dominant eye when I aim. It's just how my body feels playing with my offhand, which is, just a little awkward is the best way I can explain it. This just feels slightly awkward because I'm just not 100% fluid with my offhand. But I mean, as y'all can see, I'm not terrible. So here's going to be the tester, setting up either a combo or the bank shot on the 6 ball. But it looks like I'm going to set up for the combo because I'm just not going to do a whole lot of cue ball movement. try the combo. And I missed the combo. But I mean, look at that. 6 points with my offhand. That's not bad. And that was even with some difficult cue ball manipulations. So if you're not able to play with your offhand, I do highly advise that you try to learn playing with your offhand. Whoops. Because that'll definitely get you out of a lot of bridging situations. I mean, we're talking about like if you're a right-handed player, you know, trying to shoot this can be a little awkward because you can't stretch. And this is especially if you don't have an extension. You know, you all know I have an extension, so I could just grab my extension or grab the bridge. But then if you're a left-handed player, it's just as easy to be able to do that. So if you're able to at least fluently switch around between left and right on given cases, you know, that's just more power you have in your arsenal to be able to do stuff. All right, turn the face cam back on. All right, let's see. What's wrong with my TV not upgrading? All right, what do we got here? Oh, holy crap, I have 90 viewers in here? I think that's a new record for me. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to get my TV to still play YouTube. Is it even connected to my internet? That's a good question. Let's see, what do we got here? What do you recommend, then rush out of what you've tried? I'm not sure what your question means there, Hodges Lawn Maintenance. Talking about a bunch of different shafts. Any recommendations on a pool table? I do agree with Bang Time suggestion, a diamond table, but I mean, at the end of the day, a table's a table. Oh, I can sign in with my phone. That'll work. So sign in using the mobile app. How does that work? Oh, maybe that didn't work. Go back. Sign in on your TV using your Google account. That's what I want to do. And let's see. Well, that's on my next live stream that I do. I did figure out how to get my GoPro incorporated into the live stream. So every, you know, I'm not gonna wear the GoPro on my head throughout the entire stream because then that head strap that I have can get a little tight. But I will be able to allow you to see, like, you know, where I'm hitting on the cue ball, et cetera, and you can you know, see what's around my garage when I walk around, just like I did on one of my YouTube videos. But I figured that'd be a nice addition to a live stream. That next, and then my password. if y'all can figure out what my password is because of the way I'm twiddling around on the remote, y'all are some talented people. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, hopefully that should work. All right, well, that's loading. Let's see what we got. TBZ, I don't have an EQ setting on my mic signal, so when my microphone Bluetooths to my computer, I just have it set as a input device, so that way when I stream, then the software that I'm using, which is OBS, I try to tweak the settings to where it tries to clean up the audio if it can, or at least because it becomes a whole lot of just troubleshooting at that point, to where like, okay, I'm going to try to mess around with the noise suppression. And that's why it was drastically different than before. And then all I did was turn off the noise setting. So there's I can see the live chat. So where's the live chat? Oh, cool. There's the live chat. All right. So now if I'm at the table and I happen to glance at my TV, I'll see if I forgot to turn off the face cam. Ever made a 6-rail shot? I've never had to actively try. I mean, to me, that would be a trick shot. I think the most I've ever done for a game would be 4. All right, so I'm all caught up here. Well, which part of the stream is really loud, TBZ? I mean, I've already had some viewers saying that my voice chat sounds fine, and the balls banging around sound just fine. Okay, that's actually really cool. Nicholas Desidue, like I said, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What's the ideal pre-shot routine? So I can try to demonstrate that. And we're only going to do a 3-ball setup. Let me get this out of the way. So there, I can see on my television the face cam is off, so we'll be okay here. So there's a few levels of pre-shot routines to consider. Like when you're an absolute beginner, there's a pre-shot routine, and then as you there's the beginning pre-shot routine, and then as you get better and better, then there's going to be more details that you start to add to your pre-shot routine. So like I would think at a beginning level, all you're trying to do first is make the ball that you're trying to make. So if you're an absolute beginner, you're going to hit this with the center cue ball hit, and you're just going to make the ball, and you usually won't have an idea of where the ball's going to go. So you get down, you line yourself up, get down on the shot. Depending upon if you're a ghost ball aimer or whatever, I'm going to go from a ghost ball perspective. And then when you shoot the shot, what a beginning player does is just waits for the cue ball to stop moving. Then they decide what they're going to do next. And so here, a beginning player is not even going to know that this was even possible. Right? So then they're just going to come around and just do the same thing again. Try to line themselves up, get down, take a few practice strokes, and then just shoot the ball. And this is all with just center cue ball hits. Now, the problem is that when you have absolute beginners, then this is the shot that they're more than likely going to miss. That's from an absolute beginner's perspective. Now, as you get better and better, we try to do roughly the same exact setup. Now, we already know one setup that works, right? It looks like I can just run this whole thing out with a center cue ball hit. But if you're able to control the cue ball and at least control the cue ball accurately, then you start adding a little bit more details to your pre-shot routine. So the first thing we should have already learned is that when I cut this one ball into the corner pocket, cue ball is naturally going to come into this side rail, or short rail. Once it hits this short rail, I can then control what I want it to do. If I don't try to control it, we already saw that as long as the speed is correct, it's going to land somewhere over here. Because clearly if I hit it too soft, it's going to land up here. And if I hit it too hard, it's going to land down here. So what my pre-shot routine involves is this, where I see my shot. I can already see that the cue ball is going to go into the rail, and what I would like is for the cue ball to end up right here. Why? Because I can shoot the cue ball into this corner pocket. The cue ball naturally goes into this short rail and then comes back up for the two ball. If I do end up going too far, now when I shoot the two ball goes over here, but my cue ball goes this way. And I have to ask myself, do I want to control it to end up on this side of the three ball or allow it to end up on this side of the three ball? So believe it or not, all of that is going through my head before I even shoot the one ball. So pre-shot routine is chalk, observe the shot, know where the cue ball is going to go for the next shot, get down on the shot, take a few practice strokes. I usually like to do 3. And then I'm just going to rinse and repeat. But now, see, I came a little too far. I'm actually really straight on this. So what I can see now is I can still force it to do this, or I can just push up and come around 2 rails if I want to. Because if I tried to force it by stunning the cue ball over here, I have to hit this rather hard because this is almost like a 3/4 of a ball hit. And I don't really like hitting the cue ball hard. If y'all have followed me enough, y'all know I like to play with finesse. So the finesse shot to me is to follow the cue ball 2 rails and then come back up for position on the 3 this way. So I can just line this up, take my practice strokes, and then put a little bit of left spin on the cue ball. And if I had to put more left spin, I'd be straighter on the 3 ball. Because now I'm not worried about anything. Now I'm just worried about making the ball. So I've already lined myself up while I'm standing. I come down, finalize my aim, take a few practice strokes, and then see if I'm right. Because that's always how it's going to look, right? Because the moment you shoot, it's going to be, you're going to think that you're correct. And it's not going to be until you finally shoot the ball that you're going to find out if you're correct or not. Let's see, what are we coming up with here? Oh, I'm not trying an offhanded jump shot. That would be awkward. Off-handed jump shot equals bad for the table. Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see. You're talking about the frequency of the microphone. I can look at that. Let's see. What would that be under? It's not under there. Let's check this. According to my software settings, the sample rate is set at 48 kilohertz. I don't know if that tells you anything, TBZ. I mean, I can't tweak around with it while I'm streaming. It would have to be done. It would have to be done off stream. But I'm not going to change anything now because if I go offline, I'm going to stay offline. Yeah, so Nicholas, I think you were the one that asked about the pre-shot routine. So, you know, every pre-shot routine is gonna include you aiming at the ball, right? But you obviously should know that there's just more to the game than that. You can't just what I typically like to teach my APA members, or any APA member for that matter, is you don't want to just shoot an object ball and then wait for the cue ball to stop moving in order to figure out what you're going to do next. You do want to try to have all that pre-planned out, which should be included in your pre-shot routine. So that way you start to realize how much of an understanding you have on being able to control the cue ball, being able to predict where the cue ball is going to go, and then being able to predict how hard, medium, or soft that you're actually going to strike the cue ball. Because you say to yourself, I'm going to shoot this ball into this pocket. I expect the cue ball to do, because of any types of spins I'm putting on the cue ball, I'm expecting the cue ball to maybe hit this rail and then hopefully land on this spot here, to which that's going to allow me to shoot at this ball and then play position for this next ball. Because you should be aware that you plan multiple balls ahead, and the better you get, the more balls that you can actually plan ahead. So, but once you plan out, let's say 2 or 3 balls ahead, you're going to take your first shot, and you're going to find out if even the first part of your plan was correct. And if it was incorrect, then you have to ask yourself, well, why was it incorrect? Did you not did you hit hit the cue ball with enough power like you were supposed to in order for it to travel where it goes? Did the cue ball spin appropriately, et cetera, et cetera? Because the moment that the cue ball doesn't land where you think it's supposed to land, then your whole plan has to change. Hey, Bang Time, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on Tuesday for the next match. Frequency equalizer setting? No, I don't have any of that set up. Mark Wasif, I can do that. I did that on my last stream. So he's asking about a long draw. So first and foremost, the only reason why you would ever need to do a long draw is because the ball is straight in. But then you have to remember, like in an example like this, even if I were straight in, which this is pretty straight, I don't have to long draw this because I can cheat the pocket. I can make the ball go in almost any part of the pocket and still be able to get the cue ball back here. But your question was, and I'm not going to be able to do this perfectly, mind you. I think it took me like 4 or 5 attempts the last time I tried to do this. If I'm going to attempt to power draw this, and I'm going to try to hit that 5 ball square in the face with as much draw as I can, bottom spin, and not scoop the cue ball off the table. Even then, I hit it off angle. That's why you see the cue ball draw back the way that it did. So I didn't hit it as straight as I could. But your question is, like, how do you do stuff like that? Well, I mean, obviously the first part is going to be power, right? We have to make sure that when we deliver the cue ball into the object ball, that there's enough power into it that backspin stays on it when it hits the object ball, and that it's spinning fast enough so that when it finally catches the felt of the table, that it just draws straight back. So one simple tip that you can do is just scoot your bridge hand a little bit closer, because if you have a bridge length that's about 6 to 8 inches, moving it to about 4 to 6 inches is going to help, because your follow through is going to be farther. And just because your follow through is farther really has nothing to do with how much power you're transferring. The fact that you're closer to the cue ball, which means when you finally stroke, you're not going to decelerate your cue going forward until you reach the end of your limit of your hand. Because when you swing the cue, your cue naturally wants to slow down once you reach the limit of how far your stroke is actually supposed to go, unless you start rotating your shoulder and dropping your elbow. So when your bridge length is whatever it is, you'll already know that when you hit a ball, like, that's where you're going to stop. And so when you start reaching that end, your swing is naturally going to slow down. So that's why I said if you just get a little bit closer, now your stroke is a little bit farther, which means it's going to be faster before it contacts the cue ball. I hope that makes sense. That's why you obviously don't want to get too close, but you just get a little bit closer just so that your stroke is faster before it hits the cue ball. And then it starts to naturally decelerate later. I still hit it off center. Let's try it again. I actually have on my last pool drill video, my last YouTube video, not live stream or anything, but on my last YouTube video, I actually did a full table length draw. It wasn't the prettiest because it didn't come straight back, but I was able to execute it. All right, let's see if I can do better this time. Because I've always said that the harder I start to hit this cue ball, the less accurate I start to become. And I actually need to practice more about being able to do this. But for the most part, I can do it. Like that. That's probably one of the prettier ones that I've actually done, because it almost came straight back. So, Mark, I hope that answered your question. I mean, you have to, you obviously have to hit low enough on the cue ball. You have to make sure you transfer enough speed and power into the cue ball so the backspin actually remains on the cue ball after it makes contact with the object ball. So a lot of times, when you have your natural bridge length, most players just aren't aware of that deceleration concept of when they swing. Like even a baseball or golf, like when you reach the end of the swing naturally slows down towards the end of the swing, and a stroke works exactly the same way. As long as once you start reaching the end of your stroke just naturally starts to slow down. It's at its peak speed when you're like in the middle of your stroke. So when you're just a little bit closer to the cue ball, then you can maintain that speed longer, because since your follow-through is going to be longer. And so when you actually still reach the end of your follow-through, that's when it's just going to start to slow down. But that slowdown effect certainly won't happen until after you contact the cue ball, allowing the power and the speed and the spin to still remain on the cue ball. So I hope that makes sense. Any tips on follow shots? I find that I cue straighter when attempting a draw shot in comparison than when I do a follow shot. I'm actually surprised that you said that, because follow shots are easier than draw shots, because a follow shot is something that the cue ball naturally wants to do anyway, right? Unless you're jumping the ball or massaying the ball naturally just wants to go forward. It doesn't matter if you hit it with top spin, bottom spin, or a center cue ball hit. The cue ball is just going to go forward. So after it makes contact with an object ball, the most natural thing that it's supposed to do is to continue going forward. So if you're telling me that you actually hit straighter draw shots than you do follow shots, I'm just a little surprised at that. But to answer your question, I would primarily just say just don't hit so hard, right? Because that's where your control really starts to get lost. I think any player can experience that. If you have a straight in shot, You know, and I want to follow the cue ball after the 7 ball. I don't have to muscle the cue ball through the 7 ball in order to get there. I think if your follow shots are not as accurate as your draw shots, it's because you're trying to do something like this. I imagine. I'm not sure. Like you're trying to do something like that, and you just don't get the reaction that you're looking for. When what I'm trying to say is you don't have to do that, because the cue ball already naturally wants to go forward all by itself. When you do hit this with topspin, it just doesn't really require a whole lot of power, regardless of how much distance it has to travel. So, I mean, listen to the hit. I mean, it just requires no effort to do something like that, versus a draw shot, that does require effort. So I hope that makes sense. Todd, have I found any shot that I perform better with my offhand? I'd have to say no. I don't think there's a shot that I do with my offhand that's actually better than my good hand. I think they're all the same. Well, no, I retract that statement. Like I cannot draw better with, or as good with my left hand as I can with my right hand. I can draw with my left hand. I've done it already tonight, but I just can't. Like that full table length draw that I did. There's probably no way I'm doing that with my offhand. Gary Sorensen, the weight of my shooting cue that's on the table is 19 and a half. That's primarily what I like to shoot with. Let's see here. Well, okay, so you're talking about force follow shots. I mean, that's another completely unnatural thing, right? So we can't expect the cue ball to be consistent, right? Because the force follow shots aren't really as necessary as they can be, because you're talking about trying to be able to do something like this, as far as I know, like that right there. When I don't have to do that just to get position. Oh God, I did it again. I'm sorry. Gee whiz. Let's try that again. So, force follow shots. Like I said before, that I just think that a force follow shot is actually another unnatural thing that the cue ball wants to do, because once the traction finally picks up, or the friction finally picks up from the table, that's what allows the force follow to take effect. Because under normal conditions, when you shoot a shot like this with force follow, this is what you're expecting to happen: lots of topspin, lots of power, and you do something like that. But I don't need to do something like that to get position on the 7 ball. So there's hardly ever a case, unless maybe I'm going for like, a cheese shot or something. So, for example, if I'm playing a game of 9 ball, and I'm doing something like this, and I'm playing a game of 9 ball, this is where I might find, a force follow shot might be appropriate. But still, I don't even think I'd consider this a force follow shot. I would just consider this a follow shot. Just to be able to try to make the 9 ball like that. So that wasn't really a forced follow shot, but at least, hey, I still get to shoot because I got lucky and made a ball. See if I can make both of them at the same time, or in one shot, not the same time. There we go. Well, if anything, I should be entertaining y'all whenever I forget to turn turn off the face cam. Hey, Horatio, how's it going? Being kind, I don't have a set schedule for the live streams. I was actually going to try to do Dr. Dave's straight pull run your age challenge because I just recently turned 40. But I had a really busy day today, and then by the time I felt like playing pool, I just felt like it was just easier to do a live stream than to try to spend a few hours recording clips and editing and et cetera, et cetera. So there's really no set schedule. So like tonight was more of an ad lib on the fly live stream, whereas in my last live stream, that was actually scheduled out. Like I knew I was going to go live at the end of the day, so I went ahead and published a schedule saying this is when I'm going to go live, this is what we're going to happen. But I don't really have a set schedule. TBZ, I use Vegas Pro to edit my videos. All right, you know what? I haven't done another practice rack, so I am going to go do that. Just checking to make sure that I actually did turn off the, the face cam this time, so check my television. I'll tell you what I can do though, probably after this for fun. I can attempt I can do a live attempt of running my age in straight pool. Let me know what y'all think of that. I'll still eventually make a YouTube video out of it, like a recorded one. Okay, let's see here. We look and see where the 2 ball is at in relation to where the 1 ball is at. All I'm going to do is just set this up. A little bit of a cut so that way I can just stun over and be able to see the 2 ball. Now from here, I can apply some bottom left spin. The idea is to try to come through this opening here. I'd like to land in the opening, but otherwise, if I do hit the rail and come back out, as long as I don't get hooked by the 8 ball, that's what I don't want to happen. So this is with bottom left spin. Oh, not enough bottom. All right, so I saw something in the questions about the banking system that I use, so I'll just try to run through it here. So what I do is I look for a line according to the diamonds to where if the balls were on that line, that's basically where you'd send the ball into the rail in order for it to go into the pocket. So for example, if the ball was here in this pocket here, I know that it's 4 diamonds away from the side pocket. So ideally, I know that half of 4 would be 2, so I'd be aiming at diamond 2 to go into the pocket. So there's other lines to use. So the first line that I'm looking for is the line that's past the object ball. So in other words, this line here is not past the 3 ball. So that's why I don't use this line. So if I go to the next diamond, I know that I'm 3 diamonds away, and then half of 3 is going to be 1.5. This is also why I think I've read some comments on my video that says that I'm not supposed to say 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm supposed to say 10, 20, 30, and 40. Do you realize that it's just the same thing? It's just that they moved the decimal point. So I'm a numbers guy. I'm comfortable with using decimal points. So that's why I can say 3 and 1.5 versus saying 3 or 30 and 15. So if I take this here and move over 1.5, now we can see that I have a line that is actually past the object ball in the direction that I want to bank. So there's a debate on whether or not you're supposed to come halfway over to between the object ball and this line, or come all the way over. Because the way I do it is I slide my cue parallel all the way over the object ball, and I end up with a line that's like this. So this tells me that this is where I have to send the 3 ball into the rail. There are other banking systems that says if I can imagine a line through the 3 ball that's parallel to the line that I've drawn here, I would want to move the cue halfway in between and then shift the butt over to be able to see it. And I'm going to share a secret. Both systems work. And why do both systems work? Because of how hard I'm going to hit the object ball, or if I'm going to apply any spins to the object ball. I've always done it with a full parallel shift, but I've seen it where the non-full parallel shifts work, because the variable of speed and spin make basically the final judgment of what's going to happen. So nonetheless, just because I've measured this out and I now have an idea of where I'm going to hit the 3 ball into the rail, does not mean I'm going to make it. Because if I don't have the correct variables like speed, spin, et cetera, then I'm still going to miss. But one thing's for certain is I'm going to be really close. Because if I do miss, most of the time, I'm either going to miss by maybe a quarter of a diamond on this side, or a quarter of a diamond on this side. So like the whole point of the system is just to give you an idea of how to get to the pocket. And then after that, when you start feeling out like you know you're going to put outside spin because you have to be able to control the cue ball to get to your next object ball, or you know how hard you're going to hit the object ball, you're automatically going to start adjusting for those different types of variables that cause the outcome of the bank to be a little bit different. In other words, if you hit the object ball harder, then the rebound of the angle is going to be shorter. If you hit the object ball softer, then the rebound angle is going to be a little bit wider. Since I was banking to the right, if I put left spin on the cue ball, if you ever heard of spin transfer, that means I'm going to transfer right spin into the object ball. So since I'm banking to the right and the object ball is going to have right spin, the rebound angle is also going to be wider. If I put right spin on the cue ball, I'm going to transfer left spin to the object ball. So that means the rebound angle is going to be shorter. Right? So when you're doing all the measurements, to me, it doesn't matter whether it's a full parallel shift over the object ball or just halfway in between. If you don't guess correctly how hard you're going to hit the ball and how much spin you're going to use on the cue ball, you're still going to miss. So it really doesn't matter. So I've always done the full parallel shift, and it's worked out well for me, and that's how I've presented it in my banking video. And I do the same thing for kicks as well. Now, like I said, does that mean I make all my bank shots? No, of course not. That's no different than me saying how I don't make all of my shots, period. But it gives me a good solid foundation of knowing where I need to hit the object ball if I'm going to go for a bank shot, which is the whole point of any system. Oh, thought I missed that. There, it's not very often that I try to actually teach or do demonstrations, because when I'm doing a recorded YouTube video, I'll have my cameras like set down here at playing length so you can see all appropriate angles or different heights, et cetera, so that way you can hopefully see everything that I'm going to want you to see in order to be able to pick up everything that I'm trying to teach. All right, so I was hoping that would generate some discussions here. Let's see what we have here. Superian 0508. I have a YouTube video on massing the cue ball, which is curving the cue ball around an object ball. So I would recommend checking that out, to spin the cue ball around a ball. Well, it looks like everybody wants me to try to do the straight pull attempt. Let's see here. The weight of my brake cue, Hodges lawn maintenance, I think it's only 18 ounces instead of 19 and a half, which is what I like to shoot with. But I've explained before that with a lighter cue, you're able to swing it faster. Now, I don't have a powerful brake because I choose not to brake powerful. I choose to brake with control. Oh, holy crap! I got my first super chat. Being kind, thank you so much for the $10 donation. You said, what's an easy way to measure one rail kicks that I use? Well, funny enough, I use the same exact system that I do for banking, the same exact one. So what ends up happening, the only difference being is that when you have to be able to judge where you're going to shift the line over, you're not going to shift the line over an object ball this time. You're going to shift the line over the cue ball. So let's start with the obvious stuff first. So like I said, when we go from side pocket to corner pocket, we already know that between pockets is a length of 4. I caught it this time. I made sure to go turn it off because I did almost start without it. So like I said, since we know that we're 4 diamond lengths apart, then halfway in between 4 would be 2. So if I move the front end of my cue 1, 2, this gives me the idea that as long as I shoot down this line with the correct speed, then the ball's going to go in. Just like so. I mean, I hit it. So like I said, it's not going to be perfect. And then now when we do 3 diamonds away, it's 3 and 1.5. So 1.5. So if the cue ball was here under this line, and I shoot towards that rail, again with the correct speed, then I'll be able to make the ball. Come over here to 2. We do 2 and 1, which is going to be this. And then when we get to 1, we have 1.5. So when you know these 4 lines, this is pretty much your starting point for measurements, because now when the cue ball is not on that line, like something like this, if I go and measure now, like I said, now I'm looking for a line that's past the cue ball. So this line here, the 4 and 2 line, is not past the cue ball. If I go look at the 1.5 line, or the 3 and 1.5 line, this line is past the cue ball. So now I can just shift this over completely over to the cue ball, and it just moves the cue slightly to the right on the end rail. And I can hit here to be able to make the ball. But again, with the same, or with the right amount of speed and the right amount of spin, because otherwise the ball will go short, or in that case it goes long. So here's how I know how to illustrate what I'm talking about when it comes to speed and spin. We know, for example, that 4 diamonds away, I should hit into this rail and be able to make the ball, right? But if I hit this too hard, watch what happens. I come a whole diamond short. So if I take that same exact power and go halfway up, I could probably still make the ball, since I know that I'm coming a diamond short. Okay? So that's why I was saying, like, whether you do a full parallel shift over or a half parallel shift over, if you don't choose the correct speed and spin, then it's not going to matter. And does anybody know who Grady Matthews is? Grady the Professor Matthews? I mean, that's right, Stefan. We are pool nerds. So if you know who Grady Matthews is, I'm gonna attempt to recreate one of his excerpts from one of his teaching videos, and that's using the one rail kick system, and this is using speeds and spins as well. So we already know, again, if we're just 4 diamonds away, we just shoot through 2, and we can be able to make the ball. But if that spot were blocked, if I were to shoot at diamond 1, that means I'm going to come 2 diamonds short because it's going to end up over here. So in order to get it to go 2 diamonds longer, I have to put 2 tips worth of left spin, or at least probably go 75% to the left of center in order to still be able to make this shot. And then if that spot were blocked, if anybody knows what VHS I'm referring to that I'm recreating, give me a thumbs up. If that spot were blocked, now it can come halfway in between with just 1 tip of spin and still be able to make the shot. If that spot were blocked, now I can shoot 2.5 down, but now I have to start incorporating some right spin, a little bit of draw, and a little bit more power to be able to shorten the angle. But if that spot were blocked, I want to know how many of y'all are going to clip this so that way you can go practice it for later. Now we go 3 diamonds down, a whole lot of draw, a whole lot of right spin, and the right amount of power. And y'all are thinking like, there's no way this is going to go, right? But you'd be surprised, even when you overdo it, how you can actually manipulate that cue ball. That's pretty close. Let's try it one more time. Oh gosh, I'm getting close. I got to make it for y'all. Well, at least I'm consistent. It's like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. That's close enough. If I can get on the other side, then that means I can make it. So now, if that spot were blocked, what about only half a diamond down? Where you basically masse into the rail. Whee! And then last but not least, if that spot were blocked, you know, we're thinking, what's left? Well, then that's when the 2-rail system starts to kick in. And like I said, Grady Matthews does a really, really good demonstration in one of his own old VHS tapes that I actually used to have and watched, and that's where I learned all that from. No, I didn't do it again. I made sure to turn it off before I started. Throttle lock. Do I have a preference on template racks? Well, usually I don't like to take off the template rack just for efficiency purposes. So because I like to leave the template racks on the table, I prefer the magic racks because they are less in the way. They both do the same exact thing as far as getting in the way. I demonstrated that on my last stream. So if I were to take my AccuRack, if I were to take my 9-ball AccuRack and then my 9-ball, 10-ball magic rack, I can produce the same result of what happens to the cue ball when it rolls over the rack. So if I roll over the magic rack, it actually rolled a little too fast. It rolled nicely across it. But the actual plastic magic rack does lay, there we go, and it's all the path of the cue ball is altered. But the Magic Rack lays flatter on the table. I did find out that I can probably iron my my AccuRacks to make them lay flatter onto the table. But then, you know, here when I do the same thing, that was pretty good. There we go. It was a little altered. But like I said, they serve the same thing. I just think that the Magic Rack is better. And I don't know if you can tell on the stream or not, but you can see here on the back end, this end is lifted up versus this end being flat down on the table, which is, again, the reason why. Unless I try to go ahead and iron these, which is one of the recommendations that I got, then I can have the AccuRack flatter onto the table. Well, being kind, when it comes to the balls being in the middle of the table, if you can still identify like where on the rail, like the track line that the cue ball is going to be traveling to the rail that you're going to kick, and from the rail you're going to kick, you should have an idea of whether or not you're going to be able to kick the ball in, or let alone if you're going to be able to hit it or not. So it's not like I can give you anything that's going to be precise to know whether or not, for example, let's just do this. And what we can try to do is set up some simulations here where when I try to kick a ball that's not in front of the pocket, like this, for example, what do I do here? Well, I can still do the same thing to where I can try to find how do I get to the pocket if I want to kick at it. So this is what I'm doing here. So right now, this tells me where I need to hit if I want to go right into the pocket. But, you know, obviously for this shot, I don't want to go right into the pocket. So I see that I have to come at least a complete diamond short. So I think the formula is for every diamond short that you are, or for every diamond that you want to adjust, you only move half a diamond. So instead of moving from here, a full diamond shift would be somewhere over here. I'm only going to move half, which is going to put me somewhere right around here. And I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to make it, but I should have a high probability that I'm going to hit the ball. Oops, unless I don't hit it correctly. Go here, and then to adjust, there we go. Yeah, I'm at least going to hit the ball. The first one, I actually threw some left spin on the cue ball, which is why it hit the rail so much sooner. So now we try to do the same thing here. So there's that. Let's see if there's a closer line. So this line's a little bit closer, which is 2.5. So here's what takes me to the pocket, and I want to come a diamond short, so I'm going to try right here to be a diamond short. See? And I at least get a hit on the ball. Like it's not going to be precise, because when you're talking about trying to pocket a ball that's off the rail or away from the pocket, I mean, you're looking for a precise hit as if you were trying to shoot straight at it. And to be able to accurately judge that from a kick shot is not going to be ideal. Yeah, Grady Matthews only kicks. That's what I was recreating. Y'all got it. The best way to transport a Magic Rack, because you don't want to fold plastic. Once that plastic folds, it's practically ruined. That's at least why the AccuRacks are better than the Magic Racks because you can like crumple them up and stuff and then try to flatten them back out, and they're reusable. Okay, so there was a request for me to try straight pull. The best that I've ever been able to do is 36. Just 4 balls shy. So we're going to try. So, if no one's ever played straight pull before, the way this works is, especially when you're playing one player, this is not how you would play if you're playing 2-player. But if you're playing 1 player, you set up a 14-ball rack with the head ball missing. And what you would want to do is set up a shot where you can shoot this ball and then have your cue ball break open the rack at the same time. And the shot that I've been using that I basically picked up from Dr. Dave is this opening shot here. I'll have the object ball near the middle of the table, and what I want to do is cut it into the side pocket and then drive the cue ball into the rack to open it up. So if when I'm actually successful at this, I actually get a really good spread result. Kind of like that. Okay, so I made the 7 ball, so I now have 1 point. So now I'm going to try to pick apart this rack because I can shoot at any ball that I want, and every ball is worth a point. But what I need to make sure is I need to identify what ball I want to have last on the table so that I can basically do what I started with. I want to be able to make that last ball, drive the cue ball into the rack, and then open it back up for the second rack. So like right now, the 9 ball is pretty good, but the chances of me keeping the 9 ball here are pretty slim. I mean, I have to get the 5 ball out of the way, so I'm going to have to get the 13 ball out of the way in order to get this to move. So, I mean, I can try that. But first, I'm going to go ahead and take out this wired combination. All right, so that's 2 points. And so for every ball that I make, I'm just going to keep scoring points. So at the end of each rack, you should have a total score of 14. So for me to do 40, I have to do 2 complete racks and then 12 more balls after that. So what I'm going to try to set up for is to get that 13 out of the way now. Start with the 1 ball, get position on the 13. And when I get the 13 out of the way, I can try to shoot the 5 ball down there so that way I can leave the 9 ball for last, hopefully. So just play this in because I can start pecking off the balls that are up here. So the 8 ball is a bit of a tight squeeze there. And if I'm not careful, I can move, my 9 ball is going to get moved. So like right now, if I try to cut this 8 ball in, and that's a very tight squeeze, so I think I'm going to skip it. Now I can try to shoot my 5 ball. I can see that I'm going to bump my 9 ball, but as long as I don't bump the 9 ball into the rail, I'm okay with that. Just moving it a little bit further away from the rack is okay. So that doesn't bother me at all. Actually, it makes it a little bit easier. So now I can try to cut the 14 in, and then my cue ball will break this stuff up. Oh, I almost didn't leave myself a shot. Okay. So if you see the pattern from here now, it would be ideal that my 3-ball be the next to last ball, because I can shoot the 3-ball like maybe into the side pocket and get the position that I want on the 9-ball to where I'm back cutting the 9-ball and driving my cue ball into the rack, and then I can continue my run. So what I'm going to attempt to do here is just pocket the 8-ball. Hopefully I don't double hit the cue ball. Now I can pocket the 6. And so like I said, I don't want to move that 9-ball any more now than I have to. I'm going to try to draw back for the 2-ball. Ugh. I don't want a cut angle on this 3-ball. I do want to make sure that I can draw the cue ball back a bit. So, but I'm not going to shoot this stretched out. I probably should actually get my extension instead of shooting with the bridge. Ah, like I said, I probably should have gotten my extension. So now I'm just going to try to gently roll this in so the cue ball doesn't roll very far, but then I should have the back cut angle I want on my 9-ball. Okay, so there's 14 points. So now I'm just going to re-rack everything. And so hopefully y'all should see what I'm talking about. When I cut the 9-ball into the corner pocket, the cue ball drives itself into the rack. So that way I can hopefully continue to run. So how the cue ball runs into the rack and how the rack spreads is very important. This does not mean that you just completely blast the 9-ball into the corner pocket. You do want to hit it hard, but you still have to make sure that your break is in control. All right, so that's pretty good. I can shoot the 2-ball, and that's it. I can only shoot the 2-ball. But I have to try to make sure that I set up for some other stuff to go along with it. So I'll try to cut the 2 in the corner. Oh, crap. And there you go. There my run ends with a 16, and I would have to start completely over. But that's the general idea. TBZ, this is a Predator glove. I mean, I pretty much play with an all Predator equipment. Not that I'm sponsored or anything, because I'm not sponsored. I like my stuff to match. Let's see. What has been the most difficult pool concept skill system you have learned? Any advice on how did you get good at it? I mean, practice. I mean, right? That's really the only answer I can give you. But you know, it depends on what you're practicing at, right? Because you just have to know the mechanics behind everything that you're trying to do. So if you're trying to do a draw shot or a power draw shot, no less, I mean, you have to have the understanding that you have to be able to hit the cue ball below center, right? Because if you're not getting the draw that you're looking for, well, why is that? Like, what could be causing that? One of the biggest things that I've seen before from players is that when they try to draw a ball, and this is, I'm going to over exaggerate what I'm doing here just to make the point. So here's center, and here's below center. And so what they would expect to happen is this, right? Anybody would expect that to happen. But what I've seen players do is that they'll try to do the same thing. They'll have their below center, but then somehow get this result. And they'll really question, you know, what did they do wrong? Now, I'm actually going to watch the replay first to see if it was that noticeable. Yeah, it's that noticeable because they don't know that they come up at the last second before they actually strike the cue ball. Let's see if I can make it a little bit more subtle. So they have their below center, and then like that would maybe be a little bit more subtle. Let's see what the replay looks like. Yeah, that looked a little bit more subtle, but you don't realize that you're coming up at the last second and you're not actually putting the bottom spin on the cue ball. So what does the practice actually mean? Well, then slow it down. So if you know that you have the bottom spin, the first thing you should be trying to do is not this. That's not the first thing you should be trying to do when you're trying to learn how to draw the ball. The first thing you should be trying to learn how to do when you're this far away is slow it down and get this type of result, where the cue ball actually stops right on contact because the backspin is died out, and then when it's slid into the object ball, therefore stopping right on contact. Because now you're fully aware that you at least did hit the cue ball with bottom spin. And then after that, you slowly want to try to increase the amount of speed so that way you can start seeing how the cue ball will start drawing itself back. Oh, can I jump with the full cue? Yeah, I can jump with the full cue. Because like you said, in APA, you can't switch to specialty cues. You can't even use your break cue in APA. You can only use your shooting cue. So this is my shooting cue. Now, it's going to be harder for me to jump with this cue because it has a soft tip on it. The harder the tip on the cue, the easier it is for you to jump. But if I can't do it with this one because of a soft tip, I'll just grab one of my other cues that has a harder tip. Ooh, not quite. Got it in the air. Let me try with this guy. This is my Viking cue. Viking has a Kamui clear medium on it. Same thing, but I almost cleared it. The problem is that I don't want to completely vault the cue ball off the table because I've done that before too, so I'm trying to hit this just right. Versus if I actually do use my jump cue or even my break cues, like I said, because the tip is so much harder, it's much easier to jump with. Oh, crap, that didn't jump at all. Which is why you wonder why they created jump cues to begin with, because it makes jumping so much easier. And that's why I'm at least thankful for them. Almost. Let me try just jumping over one ball. There we go. Because I'm actually having to put effort into this jump shot. And then when I go grab my jump cue, watch how little effort I actually put into jumping. Even then, I still can't get it over. Let's see here. Almost. All right. I know I can do it because I've actually done it. Actually, you know what? This is the cue that I did it with. This is my Sean. And it still has its factory tip on it, which is a little bit harder than a medium. But I don't know what the factory Sean tip is because it's proprietary. But in my jumping video that I made, I did do a full cue jump shot with this cue. All right. That one almost cleared. Dang, really? All right, I'm going to try it one more time. I'm actually surprised that I'm not clearing these. There we go. God, how many attempts was that, right? So much effort and so many attempts. But then if I go grab my jump cue, like it's effortless to be able to jump. Got a much harder tip. The lighter the weight behind the cue, that actually helps a lot too. Like it just makes it so much easier, and I don't even have to put any effort into jumping. It's just so much easier with the right equipment. Oh, are you kidding me? Buzz, 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 buzz. I deserve some thumbs down for that one. So let's try this again. I'm going to go back to my Sean. So sorry about all that, fellas. And ladies, if you're in there. All right, full cue jump shot with my Sean. Like I said, it has the proprietary tip on it. Oh, didn't clear that one. There we go. And all I'm doing is jumping over like, what, a quarter of a ball? But that's nothing in comparison to using an actual jump cue. Because I feel like I have to put in so much effort to be able to get the ball into the air versus with an actual jump cue. There's like no effort behind this at all. To be able to jump the ball. So the right equipment does help. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what the chat looks like when I come back to this. Should be a bunch of LOLs. Oh, there's rolling on the floor face. Yeah, Eli, this is like the third time I've done this. You know, the fact that I toggle a face cam on and off as I'm doing stuff, I just forget to turn it off. So I need to obviously be better at doing that. Well, it's definitely under 30, throttle lock. Come on now. What jump cue is that? That's the Predator Air 2 jump cue that I have. I don't think the slicker conditions of the cloth doesn't, like if you were to try to do a power draw shot on a slicker cloth, what you'd end up seeing is, like, how many times have y'all ever shot a draw shot before and the cue ball is literally spinning in place before it decides to take off backwards? Like, have y'all actually seen it, or does every time you do a draw shot, like it hits the object ball and immediately draws backwards? Do y'all ever see the delay before the draw shot actually takes place? Because that normally would happen under slicker conditions. Now, what I am going to do, though, is remember to turn the darn face cam off. Ugh. And let's do another rack of 9 ball. And if y'all want me to do another straight pull attempt, I will, so just let me know in the chat. But primarily, I do want to practice my next virtual 9 ball match, which is this coming Tuesday. So if you're not familiar with Bang Time Pool's YouTube channel, be sure to look it up, give him a subscription, and then tune into his channel on Tuesday for my next 9 ball ghost match, where I'll be playing up against Joe Jacobs from Joe's Pool School. This is still on the winner's side. It's going to be my 3rd match. So we'll be playing a total of 9 racks. All right, so try to start a good habit of taking this guy off so he doesn't get in the way. I'm going to take ball in hand as I try to go from the 1 ball to the 2 ball. So I think this is good. I'm just going to use the side rail and try to come through here. Play the 3 in the side, or I can try to get the cue ball to land in this window here between the 8 and the 9, which I think is what I'm going to try to do. This is going to be with some top left spin. And this is good that, you know, because if we look at the shot line to the 3 ball, Like this is how I want the three ball to travel to the corner pocket. And since I'm on the right side of the shot line, when I shoot the three ball in, the three ball naturally goes to the left, which means it comes to this short rail and then it gets automatic position on the four ball. Now, if I were on this side of the shot line, I start risking getting hooked by the eight ball. Then that means I have to get the cue ball to come over here, avoid touching the five ball, hit this side rail, and come back over here for position on the four ball. But I actually like where I ended up here. Now, I really didn't want to get straight in on the four ball, that's for darn sure. So I can try to draw the cue ball back for position on the five. And I overdrew it. So I would have scored a total of 5 points on that one. DJ KW905, I have an 8-foot table. That was a power draw shot right into the corner pocket because I got so straight in on the four ball. I thought there was enough of an angle to where if I at least hit the rail, even though I'm drawing it, the rail would the hitting of the rail would allow me to push the cue ball more towards a diamond away from the corner pocket, and I would have to try to maybe bank the five ball. All right, so I see some requests still for the straight pull, so I'll go ahead and try it. What did I get last time? 16. So let's see if I can do better than 16. As I almost forget to turn this off again. I'm probably going to get to the points where I'm not going to use it anymore. That way I don't have to worry about turning it on and off. I could just talk to y'all on this camera. And just look at my TV for chat messages. Okay, so let's try the same opening shot. Cutting the ball into the side pocket and driving the cue ball into the rack. Sometimes I've actually gotten some really terrible results. No, you can see me this time. I didn't start with the face camera on. Okay, so there's a really good break. I think I made 2 balls that time. The opening ball and another ball. Yeah. So I start off with 2 points. So now I'm still trying to do the same thing where what ball do I want to use as the last ball to try to break open the rack? And right now I really don't have any good ones. Like the 4 ball is too close to the rack. I'd like to try to move it if I can. So ideally what I'm going to try to do here while I'm going through this pattern is to try to set up a ball that I can use. The 6 ball might be okay. If I end up like back here, I can back cut the 6 ball and draw into the rack. That might be okay. But let's start trying to peck off some points here. Oh, that's not really the most ideal way to start. All right. And the 11 ball almost turns itself into a good ball to use. I got to be careful when I shoot this 13 ball because I don't want to bump my 9 ball into my 11 ball. But I also got to be careful to give myself a shot because I didn't. So now I actually have to move my 11 ball. Well, let's see. What do I want to do here? Let's go down table and deal with some of those balls down there. I'm trying to think, what's the best way for me to set something up? Because it's, if I had to choose, it's looking like maybe the 2 ball might be my last ball. All right, now I'm really starting to run out of options here. Big bounce. Like I said, I think the 4 ball is too close. And it's probably best that I use the 2 ball. So ideally, I would probably want my cue ball to be like right here or near here so I can cut the 2 ball in, and I would be able to maybe at least hit one of the head balls that's going to be in the next rack. Oh, goodness gracious. So there's still 14 points. Let's see how this rack develops. Actually, I don't even think I can hit the rack. Now that I'm seeing it, this is probably a bad idea. Yeah, I'm not even going to hit the rack. So if I really, really wanted to try to keep this alive, what I can probably try to do is shoot the 2 ball right into the rack and see if I can carom it into the corner pocket. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I think I'm going to try to have it go off this is the 6 ball here. Let's see what happens here. I got to judge the tangent line just right off of the 6 ball to get the 2 ball to go. This should at least open up the rack if I'm successful. And I was not successful at all. And the fact that I made that ball there, that doesn't even count as a point, because in normal straight pull, you do have to call what ball is going into what pocket. So that wouldn't even be a point, and that ball would get respotted. So I only got 14 on that one. So it's a different type of game because you have to really be able to break down the pattern like really soon in order to try to be able to determine what your breakout ball is going to be. Because then under normal conditions, like if it was an actual match, I would just play the ball, get the point, and then play some sort of safety. But since I'm trying to go for a high run, I have to try to be able to break that rack out. Robin, I have played one pocket before. We just don't have enough players in my area that like to play one pocket. How does the chat show on my TV? I mean, I have a smart TV, so I have the YouTube app because I have an LG smart television in my garage here. So I have the YouTube app installed on my TV, and it just has the option to have the live chat on while I'm watching my own stream. DJKW905, my cue that I shoot with is a Predator Black 4.5 with a 12.9 Revo shaft. Hey, Don Parrish, it looks like you're going to be cutting off. I want to thank you for stopping by the stream. I'm going to stop here soon myself. Roopster, what's going on, bud? What happened in your match against John? 12.9 over 12.4 because I like to shoot with the 13 millimeter shaft. So 12.9 is closer. That's my reason. So here, I'll make another attempt at 14.1. And I'll remember to turn the face cam off immediately this time. So other types of opening shots that can be done, like because I don't have to do the same one over and over again. Like this would be ideal for what I would want to do, like during a rack. It's like I would start the rack with something like this, so that way I can shoot the ball into the corner pocket and still be able to drive the cue ball into the rack. So let's see what I can do here. So here's where I get to try to be a little creative in order to continue a run. Because this is basically what would happen in a real game. I guess I can try the 15 ball. I'm worried I'm gonna. The 15 ball is like really tight if I try to shoot it, but I'll try it anyway. Nope, I'm gonna hit the 11. The window was really, really small. So last time I played the opening shot with top spin. This time I'll play the opening shot with some bottom spin. Let's see if we get a different result. Let's make the cut angle bigger also. So pretty much the same result, right? I don't really consider that to be that much different. Oh, that was ugly. I was trying to set up for the 15 ball. Little 4-ball side pocket. All right, I'm gonna try to get position on, oh, never mind. I can shoot the, so here's a risky thing I can do. I can shoot the 10 ball and drive the cue ball into this clutter. The problem is I'm not going to be guaranteed a shot. So this is why you have to be careful on when to try to break apart clutters or not. Well, I missed the clutter, so that actually is helpful. What I'm looking for is I'm actually looking into the clutter because I see a shot in the clutter. Just have to figure out where the approach angle is. But for now, play the 14. Yeah, I feel like that's where my shot has to be, but now I'm not even at the, all right, so this is, I'm now making this an exhibition. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kick into the 3 ball. The 3 ball is going to hit the 7, the 7's going to hit the 8, the 8's going to combo the 5 in, because I want to be able to shoot this in, like, directly. But I think this gives me the correct hit, but I'm not on the correct side of the 3 ball. So let's see if I can make the 5. See, pretty close. That's another cool thing about straight pulls when you're able to read the clutter of balls like that and see that if you contact the correct ball first, that you can actually create a long combo trail of another ball actually going in. All right, let's go back to this though. This one has produced the best results. Whoops, I got to make the ball first. This is how you know when fatigue starts to settle in, when you just start missing like the obvious opening shots. Oh. All right, let's try this again. There we go. So a bit of a better spread, a little bit of a mess here that I have to work with, obviously. Oh, are you serious? And that's what I get for taking a shot for granted. All right. Last attempt at this, and then I'm going back to 9 ball. But I do want to make a YouTube video of me trying to successfully complete the Run Your Age challenge now that I'm 40. And then after that, I still have a bunch of videos that I have to do reviews on. Okay, that's a good spread. The 12 ball looks like the ball I might want to use to be the last ball. I have to break out the 1 in 10 clutter. So let's start to peck away at some of these balls until I can see an opportunity. Oh, and I just got the battery low notification on my Bluetooth piece. So I'm probably going to cut the stream off here after this rack. I'll come and talk to y'all for a little bit and then cut the stream off. Oh, gosh, I cannot believe that. That's how you know I'm tired. Oh. All right, what's everybody up to? Being kind, when will I live stream again? I don't really know. I mean, it just really just depends on, you know, do I want to record a YouTube video or do I just want to go live? Right? Like I don't really have a set schedule. Favorite drills for warming up? I test all the rails out. I'll do like 3 rail kick shots from corner pocket to corner pocket, 1 rail kick shots, just to be able to see that the rails are behaving appropriately. How confident do I feel about winning Jim's virtual tournament? I mean, I'm playing in that tournament for fun. So, you know, I know there's at least 2 or 3 other players that could possibly give me a run for my money. But I mean, I don't really care if I win or lose because it's all for fun. It's a whole new concept that Jim's been able to bring to the pool community to allow players to be able to come together and still be able to shoot either from the comfort of their own home or from some establishment that at least has a table that allows them to play. And so it's just all for fun. Let's see here. William Shepard, I think you asked me about doing a $500 match. I mean, one, how would we play? Do you want to play like in some virtual event like what we're doing here? And then two, what is that going to prove if you beat me, that you're better than me? Is that what you're going for? Because, I mean, if you are, I'll just say that you are better than me. I don't really like to gamble to prove or to do bragging rights. If anything, the gambling that I like to do is friendly. So if you want to just play for something that's going to be like where we're only doing like, you know, 10 or 20 bucks or whatever, then I'm cool with that. And even if you beat me out of that, I mean, who cares? That means you're a better player than me, right? What do I think about Shane Van Boning's losing record in the Cup? Are you referring to like, you know, the matches that he lost? I mean, you know, let's be realistic here. Everybody that was in the Moscone Cup, you know, those are professional players. Now, how do you want to try to rank the professional players as to who is supposed to be on top versus who's supposed to be on bottom? Then like, you know, just because you're the top player, does that mean that you're always supposed to win? I mean, no, maybe in the long run, but I mean, Shane still played great, in my opinion. He just fell short on the matches that he lost, specifically the ones that he had against Jason Shaw. I think what the last one that he did, it was a Hill match, wasn't it? Have I ever considered the guys you do reviews with to do a coaching video of you? I know people have asked that before. So like I've posted my APA matches because that's like me playing live, right? So I can't do any edits or go back and do reshoots or anything like that. And then even my two Texas State Open matches that I posted before, I've had someone comment to me before that they wanted to review it, and I said, well, go ahead and do so. Like, but I just haven't seen like it actually be done. I'm because I'm no better than anybody else here. So if someone has something that they want to actually critique on my game and offer some type of constructive criticism, I mean, I'm all open for it. I mean, that's the main reason why I'm going to be going to Minnesota in about 2 weeks to go to Demetrius's boot camp for MN Pool Boot Camp. That's a YouTube channel you can check out. He also has a Facebook page. The gentleman is like 120 points or 110 points higher than me on the Fargo system. So he's definitely better at executing a lot of stuff. So I hope that he has something that I'm going to be able to learn something from him. And so, as dangerous of a pool player as y'all would label me now, I would hope that it become more dangerous after taking Demetrius' boot camp. So because I'm never done learning how to play this game, So if someone has something to offer to me that I can use, learn, and also figure out how to reteach, then I'm going to find it useful and I'm going to want it. Hodge Lodge maintenance. I've never shot with a Jacoby Black or a Q-Tech Synergy, so I wouldn't be able to give you any type of constructive criticism on which one do you like use more than the other. I'm going to have to assume that carbon fiber is carbon fiber is carbon fiber, right? So depending upon who the manufacturer is, the only thing that's probably going to be different is how it's tapered. I would think that not all of them are going to taper them the same way. So they might feel a little different as they're sliding through your fingers, but I just wouldn't think that the hit is going to be that much different in comparison to like the Predator Revo shaft or the Jacoby or the Mucci or the Viking or all the other manufacturers that do carbon fiber shafts. I think they're all going to be relatively the same thing. It's just that the taper of the shaft and the tip is obviously going to be the huge difference of how the cue is going to feel. What is the name of the boot camp? I will put it in here. So just have a look up on that. He has a Facebook page and he has a YouTube channel. Yeah, Roofster, I noticed on all three matches, like everybody was mimicking my the break that I did in my matches, and like every one of y'all were making balls on the break, but then like I said before, that it just comes down to cue ball execution after that. So Jack Cates, the difference between the carbon fiber shafts and the low deflection wood shafts, it's hard for me to make a comparison because I never actually did a true comparison between like the cues that I have because I'm primarily now a backhand English type of player where in my side spin video I did make a statement that for beginning players to start by using backhand English but then start gravitating towards fronthand English. I now have to retract that statement because I'm now more of a backhand English player because I don't have to compensate for deflection. So what I actually do is if I know that I'm within using one tip of English, whether it's top spin, bottom spin, left spin, or right spin, or particularly left spin and right spin, top spin and bottom spin is just raising and lowering your bridge hand. I'm just going to use backhand English where I just move my grip hand to apply the English that I want, all starting from center cue ball. That way I don't really have to compensate for any cue ball deflection or cue ball squirt. And so whether I'm using a wooden shaft or a carbon fiber shaft, there's really not that much of a difference. Now, front hand English, on the other hand, is going to cause cue ball deflection to occur. And that's regardless if you're using a carbon fiber shaft or not. I just haven't sat down and done an actual comparison to know how much cue ball deflection difference there is between a carbon fiber shaft or any of my wooden shafts. That is actually a video that I'm supposed to make where I can actually give you like a full review of my Predator Revo shaft. I just haven't done it yet. Samuel Harley, I'm not going to do a one pocket ghost ball in hand after the break. That would just take too long. Yeah, throttle lock. I mean, if you have an opportunity to take his boot camp, I certainly would recommend it. I'm sure he would appreciate it too. Roopster, if you ask John Schmidt to review my straight pull game, he'll just rip it apart because I haven't been able to play the game enough to study like how to break the pattern down. I mean, like I know how to identify what the break ball should be, but to run the pattern to leave the break ball alone or to be able to run the pattern to create a break ball, I just haven't played the game enough to be able to do that on a regular basis. Well, if you're not making anything on the break, Horatio, are you using a template rack or are you just using a regular rack? Todd Elston, if you're asking me if I'm going to ever do live coaching sessions, I mean, probably not. I won't say that for certain. It's because of time. Like if I were to do a live coaching session, it would have to be like right now. So like instead of me doing a live stream, I would be doing a live coaching session. So is the person that I'm coaching going to be comfortable enough to play in front of all of y'all while we're doing critiques and stuff? Like you guys see me making a bunch of mistakes, but I'm getting more and more comfortable now making mistakes, like, especially when I don't turn my face cam off and you can't see me doing all the failed jump attempts with a full cue, or, when I'm trying to run a straight pull rack and I can't finish the rack, or when I'm playing the ghost and I can't, and I don't run the rack. Anytime that I'm making a mistake, you would think like that could be some sort of an embarrassment, but to me, it's not. It's actually allowing me to get more and more comfortable playing in a live environment, which is going to be beneficial to me to play in Bang Time's virtual tournament. Now, the question is going to become, if I'm doing a coaching session, is the player also going to be that comfortable to be able to hear my criticism and then possibly reread the chats and stuff? That's what people have to deal with when just doing the recorded coaching sessions, right? They have to be fully aware that people are going to come watch that video and either give good constructive criticism or be able to troll the person and tell whoever's doing whoever's being reviewed that they suck, or that even I'm a terrible coach, right? Because that's what trolls are designed to do. So do they have the mental capacity to be able to deal with that kind of stuff? That if they do, then that's maybe something that I'd be able to consider. But right now, I just think that's just kind of difficult to do because of dealing with potential trolling. Oh, I guarantee you, Horatio, using a magic rack, you're making a ball on the break will increase like dramatically. Hey, Corner for Billiards, have a good night, man. Thanks for stopping by. Robin, I would say winter is not the best time to visit Minnesota. I think they just got done having a blizzard up there. But you know, it was when I was able to get my time in, so I'm just gonna take it. Hodge's lawn maintenance. I don't use the magic rack at league. I just allow my opponents to just do regular racks for me. And when I'm at league, that's when I mostly do the classic break where I'm trying to make the head ball go into the side pocket. How do I think Sheriff Very would do in a virtual tournament? He would do great. I mean, I already admitted on my last stream that I believe him to be a better player than I am. So, like, if y'all are wondering what a match between me and Sheriff Very would look like, one, I think it would be a good match, but at the end of it, I do think he would come out on top. Oh, who would I want to play from the YouTube content? It would either be Dr. Dave or Sheriff Very. There's been plenty of talk already before about how like the YouTube community would want to see the three of us go at it, and potentially others as well. But then I know some people actually think that the matchup would never happen because they think that we would think that our credibility would be lost if we lost, and I would just completely disagree because just like the William Shepard guy here that was asking me to play for $500. I mean, if I lose $500 to him, that just shows that he's a better pool player than me. It doesn't invalidate any of my videos or any of the lessons that I've taught before. You know, because to me, that's no different than if I went and played up against Shane Van Boning and I lost against Shane Van Boning. I mean, I lost to a better pool player. So, you know, to find out like truly who's the better pool player between myself, Dr. Dave, Sheriff, and other ones, you know, yeah, like I think that would be great. Like if we all got together and actually played against one another to be able to see like who executes everything better. We all clearly know how to do everything. It's just now who knows how to better execute everything. Yeah, Rooster. Here in Texas, all of our leagues are turned back on. But I tell you what, everybody, like I said, I just got notified again that my battery is low on my Bluetooth piece, so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off. I want to thank everybody that has stopped by. I think I saw that the chat room like peaked at about like 90 viewers, which is completely freaking awesome. And I had my first super chat donation of $10. I'm gonna have to go back. I want to say that was from Being Kind. And if I remember that correctly, because the chat's not showing me, thank you so much for that donation. And I hope that you asked a question in that donation, so I hope that I did answer it to your liking, and what I said made sense. And then on top of every question that I've gotten here, as far as demonstrating stuff on the table, I hope that I've been able to make sense and answer the questions appropriately. If I did miss a question, I do apologize. I'll try to catch it on the next live stream. So from there on out, we can just, hope everybody has a good night. Do I have any drills for speed control? My last pool drill that I did for straight-in shots, stop shots, and follow shots, you can put a variation on it to be able to do speed control. So maybe just take a look at that, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about for that one, Horatio. But for everybody else, like I said, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you all have a good rest of the evening, day, or whatever time zone that you happen to be in. So until my next live stream, though, take care, everybody.